Inevitably, we gotta talk about waifus at some point, so now. I do waifu rankings on the channel, you may have seen them, so naturally I don't like the opinion when people think talking about waifus is sad or disturbing. I mean, this isn't like on reality TV when you see the dude and his mannequin girlfriend named Jennifer, or the guy who tries to legally marry his sex doll. Waifus are for fun. It's an exercise in theoretical attraction, and it should be considered a positive thing that proves we have the emotional capacity for empathy in a woman. And if you said to me that waifus are a tool used to perpetuate selfish instincts where we don't actually care about them at all, but just about what they could do for us, like they're just things on a screen for us to oogle at and taint our view of real life girls, I previously wouldn't have had an argument against that, except I just finished playing a few playthroughs of Doki Doki Literature Club, and no spoilers not to worry, although you can beat that game in 90 minutes, so if you started it but not finished it, you don't play video games for long enough. But that game proves beyond reasonable doubt, for me at least, that emotional attachment to a character extends beyond your own desires. If you don't know, on the surface, Doki Doki Literature Club is a high school dating sim. It's also a psychological horror game, which is what it's tagged as on the Steam store page, so that's public information. It's also free, by the way, so pick that shit up. But I can say without giving away too much that your relationships with the girls in that game don't end with you walking down the aisle. There's some heavy stuff going on. It even warns you before you hit the main menu that if you suffer from depression, you better not play it, which is 95% of the world, so it has a pretty exclusive audience. But people care about the well-being of these girls. They want things to work out for them. They don't want them to suffer emotionally or physically. They wish the same things for their waifu they'd wish for their actual wife. Like in Danganronpa, if your chosen waifu is one of the characters that dies, you lament that. This poor girl trapped in an inevitable scripted death, fate predetermined to doom her with each subsequent playthrough, that's tragedy plus time loop equals not comedy, but tragedy again, endlessly. You must mourn her passing repeatedly. If you ask me, and you did, waifus, and husbandos, which just feels weird to say, can help you deal with real feelings by training you with emotions you routinely experience in games. Thanks to Danganronpa, if a real girlfriend of mine dies, I'm sure I'll be fine. But really, having best girls isn't any different than a celebrity crush. And if there are girls who are turned off by it, why don't you tell me how you feel nothing for the male character in whatever romance novel you're reading, like you don't daydream about that shit? I'm gonna clarify right at the end here that, again, I muse about waifus for fun, and while it's true that I grow attached to them, and if they ever materialized as real people in front of me, I'd be on a singular knee in a flash, I'm not delusional. I just absorb myself into the games I play, and that means caring about the people in them that are worth caring about. There's this weird stigma that if you like a girl in a video game, a real girl can come up to you and be like, "Albino, we've been best friends for years, but recently I realized that I love you," as if I'd just be like, "Fuck off, you're not Setsuna from Fire Emblem Fates, get out of here." Never will that ever happen. The person who chooses a waifu over a flesh and blood woman would never have that choice available to begin with, because no girls talk to him. I don't like challenges in video games. Specifically anything that makes you deviate from your preferred method of playing. I've really noticed this with Call of Duty World War II. Like, that game gives you orders to do in return for supply drops or extra weapon or soldier XP, like get a kill shortly after diving or get 5 shovel kills. I have a serious problem with both of those specifically, because any challenge that makes you more likely to die in pursuit of completing it means you're gonna go into your next multiplayer team deathmatch and take a massive dump on your team's score. When you get challenges in games that involve you doing something you wouldn't normally do, that's not a challenge that you complete naturally in the background as you do other things. Like when you have to get 5 shovel kills, you don't just let those accumulate over time. You equip a shovel, go into your next match with your shovel permanently out, and then die over and over again until you get 5 kills in that one match so you can turn in the order and be done with it. All the time I see people play like fucking retarded kids in a way they don't want to, just to fill out an order and receive a bonus. It's not worth it. Challenges incentivize limiting your playstyle and forcing you into grindy situations you don't want to be in, and you don't have to do them, but you're missing out on a lot when you don't, and that's across all games. Get 10 kills with a weapon you wouldn't normally ever use, or do a thing in a limited amount of time under newly added stress. I hate when things are timed. Like, I don't know if it's all of them, but at least one of the Dead Rising Rising games had this permanent running clock on every event that never stopped, that was tied to every side mission in the game basically, and if it ever ran out on certain missions before you started them, you couldn't do them anymore. Or if you didn't give your daughter her regular doses of the zombie vaccine throughout, you'd fail the game. That's just a constant state of dread to be in as you play an entire video game knowing you're perpetually running out of time on everything in it. Like if someone came up to you, put a giant hourglass on the table, flipped it, and then said, "When this runs out, you're dead." Would that not send you into an immediate panic? You'd frantically try and think of all the things you need to do before you're done, what order to do them in, how to save as much time as possible, trapped in this stagnation of indecision, and getting even more hysterical as you keep seeing grains of sand slipping through the timepiece of your slowly draining life. That said, I enjoy time trials, like in Crash Bandicoot or going for top leaderboard times in Super Meat Boy and such, because the game is built around those mechanics. But with Dead Rising, it's like they made the whole game and then put a countdown timer over all of it for no reason. But back to the initial point. Challenges are shoehorny, and they shift your focus from enjoyment to employment. It basically is like you work for the game at that point. Hey, do this for us and we'll give you a bonus. I don't like the opinion that if your playstyle deviates from a community consensus on what the best way to play a video game is, you're bad somehow. Like, what is a community? Is it made up of countless individuals who all have different opinions? Therefore, is a community consensus simply a soft majority in a group where many other people chose a different side? Yeah, so I can play my games fine, thanks. I hate when people tell you you're bad at video games based on one thing you say, as if they have enough information to put you in a category. I personally just don't like being told I'm bad at games because I'm fucking not. I played them every day for 20 years. What do you think you know about me? Some people literally are like, your opinion is wrong because it's not in the majority. That is the definition of sheep. If you look up sheep in the dictionary, it has a picture of a sheep telling a penguin it's bad at video games because it's not a sheep. Well, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Keep up the opinions in the comments about game stuff. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.